Hello, 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 family. Good evening, good evening, good evening. And let me be the first to say, if no one has told you yet today, happy Valentine's Day. Listen, I am super excited that you have chosen to spend your Valentine's evening with your girl. I am Dr. Shayna D. Lewis, but y'all know me. All my friends just call me Dr. Shayna, licensed professional counselor, motivational speaker, TEDx speaker, and destiny interventionist, because I am here to interrupt your destiny. Listen, welcome to episode number 2 of What's Love Gotta Do with It, y'all. And here's the answer: everything. I said everything. I'm from the South, y'all. Everything. Love has everything to do with it. So this month is month of love, and I really wanted to do something special for us ladies, because I know we can get so wrapped up and caught up in, trying to be booed up and thinking about, being with somebody. But what I want us to focus on this month specifically is love yourself, girl. Be your own boo, girl, and figure out how you need to love you in a variety of areas. So hopefully, if you missed our first episode last week, it was fire. All kind of mics got dropped. Tommy killed the whole thing. Go back, run back and see that playback, because that was amazing. And tonight we're going to have another amazing episode 2. And this one is called Falling in Love. And you may be thinking, okay, Dr. Shayna, what are we falling in love with? So sis, I want you to learn to fall in love with your career, your business, whatever growth you have in your world that's moving you forward and how you want to show up in this world. That's what I want you to fall in love with. And to help me have this amazing conversation, I'm bringing you one of my best girlfriends, my sister, my soror. Listen, she my day one, okay? And her name is Tracie L James. Allow me to tell you a little bit about her. I got to give y'all her street cred before I bring her up here, so you know why she is here. Tracie L James is a business growth strategist, consultant, and author. She has focused her work on helping entrepreneurs, helping us achieve real results in our businesses. For over 20 years, she has utilized her education, skills, and experience to assist business owners to improve productivity and increase profitability. Talking about those coins, okay? Drop, drop, drop right in the bank. She provides clients with training, support, and accountability required to achieve their strategic growth goals. With numerous awards, accolades throughout her sales, marketing, speaking, and consulting careers. She didn't have just one, y'all. She had several. Tracie is not easily placed in one category. She defines her number one goal is to educate, develop, and encourage leaders to reach their full potential. So without any further ado, allow me to introduce my sister friend to all of you. Welcome, Tracie L James.
What's going on, sis?
Listen, happy Valentine's Day, sis.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Yes. Yes. I see you with your red love
get in the energy of the day, the season itself.
I
Of love. That is love, y'all. That is love.
All of that. I see you, girl. I went with pink, though. I got the pink love today. You got on the red love today.
Yeah, I decided to pull out the red. I've been wearing a whole lot of pink lately, but the red. This is intense pink.
It is, for the record. And if you don't know, Tracie is also my sorority sister. We are women of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated and go. So, yes, we sisters for real on so many levels. So, Tracie, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. And I just can't wait for this conversation to drop these dimes, these gems on these sisters about falling in love. Now, you have so much experience in so many different areas and aspects of business, speaking, consulting, like all of those different things. So when you think about falling in love with your career, with your business, with your wherever it is you are, your nonprofit, whatever it is that you're doing, what's the first thing you think women need to be considering if they are really in a space of loving what they do? Because we can show up to a job and we can hate it.
Because I did that for a long time.
So what
I was in love with the paycheck. I was in love with something. I was in love with the paycheck.
Okay.
I didn't really love what I was doing, but I loved the paycheck. And I think one of the first things we have to do when it comes down to our jobs, our careers, and our businesses, we need to really embrace whatever it is about what we do that we love. Because there's something there other than the paycheck. You got to get it past the money. You got to get it past the money. But you got to find that thing. And whatever that thing is, cultivate it. You got to cultivate it. And when I say cultivate, I mean pursue more opportunities to do that specific type of work, to make that specific type of impacts. Because sometimes for people, it's not about the actual work. They like the results they get.
Okay.
And so it's about really being focused and intentional with how you approach your career, your business. And specifically for me, in working with entrepreneurs, one of the key things I tell my clients is to invest in themselves, invest in your training, invest in your education. And I'm not saying you got to run out and become a doctor like Dr. Shayna. It's not always necessary. But if you're called to be a doctor and you're avoiding it, girl, go get that degree.
Just go do that thing.
Go do it, because your blessings on the other side of that. But it's not always that type of education. Sometimes it's reading books, going to workshops, attending trainings, maybe getting a certification or a license in something that further bolsters your ability. In my space of being a consultant, because I do a whole lot in the area of sales and marketing, one of the things I found was that I needed to understand the financial side of business better. So I am investing in my education in the financial side. So I've gotten my insurance license. I am studying about investments, mainly because I think a lot of times entrepreneurs want to follow the same path with their money, just like a traditional W-2 employee.
Okay.
But it's different.
It doesn't look
it's different because I've had people who wanted to build a business, but they were chunking all of their money into their 401k while they were working the W-2 job, and they had no cash available to invest in their business.
Okay.
So as a business owner, your number one investment is your business. So you got to educate yourself so you understand, what does my business really need to grow?
Right.
And the first thing is you got to take care of developing you.
You got to develop you. And so that's good. And I want to go back to something else you said earlier. When we're thinking about being in love, what are we in love with about what we do? And you said earlier you were in love with the check at whatever said place. And I know everybody got to eat, right? We all got to eat. But what do we say to the sister who's on a job? She making good money, Tracie. She making real good money. She might be in a 6-figure position right now, but she absolutely hates it. Like, she feels like there's something else she's called to do, but she feels like she can't walk away from that thing because the check is so good. The benefits are so good. And she feels trapped in that space. What do we say to her? Because she's not loving that at all.
You have to plan your escape, because I've been there. I told you I hated my job. At one point, I literally would spend the day working from my bed because I was just that depressed and frustrated and just feeling about the actual job itself. And I'm thankful for the fact that I had a good friend who pushed me to think about, well, what do you like about the work you do? And the one thing I liked was the people I worked with. So as I began to plan for my exit, I began to think about what type of work can I go and do where I can maintain my level of income. Don't get me wrong, sister wanted to maintain her income. But at the same time, I wanted to connect in the same way and find something that I could do that involved people. And my journey it actually happened to me. I didn't have an opportunity to leave my job. My job was taken away from me. I was laid off.
You were forced into.
I was forced into being an entrepreneur when I got laid off. And in that process of wanting to help people, wanting to serve people, wanting to be of assistance to people, I began to just seek out those type opportunities. And I got certified to be a diversity trainer. I contemplated getting a certification and going into human resources because I was like, I'm a people person. I want to work with people. And so sometimes in that process of trying to figure out where you're going, it's a lot of test and trial. And I know sometimes for us, because we built this career and we've got this income, it's hard to consider exploring. But I'm telling you, you will benefit, even if it's just talking to different people about their jobs and finding out about, hey, what do you love about what you do? And I call it having your business best friends.
Okay.
These are the people that you talk to and who give you advice. People who are where you are or where you want to go.
Okay.
These are the people you surround yourself with and you begin to have those conversations.
Okay.
And they can help guide you toward that next job for a couple of different reasons. One, they may see something in you that you don't see. Because we have blind spots when it comes to ourselves. And the other piece of it is that network can connect you to the next job. And that's what happened for me. Someone in my network connected me to the next job. So I was able to actually work more directly with people and make I didn't make as much as I was making. Don't get me wrong. I didn't hit the six figures immediately, but it took a while for me to rebuild, to get back to that. And I think one of the main reasons it is because the layoff came. If I've been able to work my plan,
right, then it would look different.
Been a little more level transition. So I tell you this, pay attention to what's happening in your company. So maybe you can see the writing on the wall before I did, and prepare. But and understand this: at any day, at any time, your job could say to you, "You out."
That's true. Because you end up being subject to whatever they decide, whatever is happening there. If they downside, and we're in that world right now, right? I mean, we're in a pandemic, and we know so many people have lost jobs. So many companies went bankrupt. So, I mean, there's been a lot of devastation as far as that's concerned. And so you got folks who are left out here, like you just described. It wasn't my decision, but I'm out here now. So now what do I do? And so there's a lot of fear, I know, attached to that. Obviously, there's the anxiety attached to that because you got bills to pay. Like the bills didn't stop because the pandemic happened and people closed the job. I know it didn't stop. And so now we're worried about those kind of things. And so we have folks in that position that were literally just thrown out there and perhaps had never even considered doing something on their own, Tracie. Like they were fine working for somebody until they couldn't work for anybody anymore. So what kinds of encouragement do we give to those folks who really never even thought about doing something on their own?
Well, I'll tell you this. One of the things that I started doing probably about 7 years ago, when I was transitioning from my dance studio, and I realized that this business was not successful. I was losing money every year. So I realized, hey, it's time for me to do something different. So I didn't necessarily initially want to go back to work for someone. So actually what I started to do was I started to look at the job postings for sales positions and marketing positions and things like that. And instead of just applying for the job, I actually called the company to see if they were interested in hiring a consultant to come in and do it instead.
Oh, okay.
So I took that initiative. Now, that was for me because I wanted to work for myself. Now, if you really want to get back into corporate America, I will tell you this: network. Your next job is not necessarily, you're not going to necessarily find it on Indeed. Get a recruiter. And I know there's a lot of people who are unemployed right now. So the job market is tough. It is. So you may want to look at putting yourself like on Upwork. And there's some other freelance type websites where you can just put yourself out there and say, hey, I'm available to do this type of work. And in putting yourself out there, you can create a stream of income until that next job comes along. The most important thing for you to do is to not give up. Just stay active, stay engaged. Your friends don't know you've been laid off. And I get it. You don't want to tell them because you feel embarrassed. You feel, you take it personal when you get laid off. Okay.
Yeah. Like it's something about you.
Yeah, like it was my fault. But the truth of the matter is, layoffs happen for multiple reasons. Companies expand and contract regularly.
Yeah. Okay.
So, doing a huge amount of hiring generally is followed a few years later by a whole lot of layoffs. Okay. Because at some point, there's a line that the company hits where they stop being as profitable. And the first place they look is to reduce people. They're going to reduce the cost. The biggest cost is people.
Yeah.
So stay prepared. And if you're in that situation and you're not sure exactly what to do, holler at a sister. I will be glad to direct you because recruiters, freelance websites, just to keep yourself out there and going.
And keep going. Well, listen, if you just stumbled across this live and you're like, what are they talking about? You have just entered. What's love got to do with it, y'all? This is a 4-week series in the month of February, the month of love. I'm your girl, Dr. Shana, your destiny interventionist, here to interrupt your destiny with my special guest, Tracie L James, who is a business growth strategist. And she is here helping us understand, how do you fall in love with your business, your career, your nonprofit? What do you do when what you thought you were supposed to be doing is no longer an option? Maybe you got laid off of your job. What are the ways that you can pivot? Perhaps because we know we're in this world right now, and it's difficult for so many people. And Tracie, I hear it. I mean, as a clinician, I hear women come to me and there's the distress that they're feeling on a job. Perhaps they haven't lost it even yet. They're feeling a lot of stress right now, not loving what they're doing, but not sure what to do next. So let's go into that space right now. You have the woman who's on her job. She really is unhappy. And it is not even about the money, right? We said earlier the check was good, and that was keeping her there. She's not even getting the check. She understands she's being underpaid, undervalued. The folks don't treat her right, but she is so loyal, and we so are, and we show up every day, every day. But we're stuck, right? And I talk to women all the time about being in this stuck place. So we think about it from that career perspective, whether you're an entrepreneur working with somebody else, how do we get from that stuck place to being in a space of, I like to call it flow, right? That's, to me, that's that love space of loving on yourself in whatever way you want to do so. How do we get from stuck to that place in the career world?
Well, I think one of the first things you have to do is you have to stop making excuses for why you can't leave the company you're at.
Well, okay.
You gotta stop making any excuses. Number one, because we get there and it's like, well, I've been here and they've taken care of me. And okay, guess what? You're not happy. And when you get stagnant, when you are stuck, nothing's growing, nothing good happens there. Let me give you this example. This is going to want to give you a visual. Okay. Think of stagnant water. Is that a pretty sight? It don't smell good. It don't look good. And it does not flow. There's no flow. When you have a stagnant amount of water, it doesn't flow. It's just sitting there. It's not moving. And bad things are growing there. So you have to make a decision that you want to ripple. You want to start a ripple effect in that water. And that first ripple is you stepping out and deciding, I want to do something different. Yeah. And I'm telling you, one thing you can do if you got your job and you ain't really happy with it, start applying for jobs. And I want you to go for the job. And you get to your job posting and you say, oh, I'm not qualified for that. I want you to apply for it anyway. I want you to stretch yourself. Look at your resume. Talk to your best friend and say, read my resume. Do you think it conveys who I am? Because I'm going to be honest. The best resumes are generally written by someone else for you.
Now that's a thought.
Okay. We discount who we are and what we do naturally. Dr. Shana, you and I both love Strength Finders.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I fell in love with that assessment while I was working for the American Cancer Society. It was something gifted to me as an opportunity for us to take this and find out what our strengths are. And I'm telling you, If you don't know which way to go, that's a great way to start.
Mm-hmm.
And it was less than $20.
Yep.
To get the book and to be able to take the assessment. And it gives you all the things that you naturally do well. See, this is the deal. We spend so much time trying to fix the flaws, the weaknesses, but we need to focus on what we do well. And when you begin to focus on what you do well, it begins that ripple effect.
Oh, that's so good. Now, wait, let me unpack that right quick, because you gave several words inside of there. So I'm going to go back to, first of all, this stagnant water that you said stank. That's what you said.
Oh, it stank.
You said it stank. Somebody put hashtag stank in the comments, because sister done said it stank. So we're saying no more stagnant water, because stagnant water stank. And what we don't want to do is be the water that's standing still, right? Because bad things grow on, and that's so true. That's that stuck place. And so trying to get to the space of flow where we're creating the ripples means that we have to get from under the excuses we've allowed ourselves to sit underneath, which is what you just described. Because I also didn't say that Tracie L James is the excuse-proof leader as well too. And she don't believe in making excuses, because excuses sound best to the one making them up, and we're not going to be allowed to make them up anymore. We got a lot of them, Tracie. Yeah. I'm too old. I don't know enough. I don't have enough education.
I ain't got time. I ain't got the money. That's not something I can do. I don't have the ability. I don't have the capability.
Right.
I'm not smart enough, you know. And I'm like, hold on.
Yeah.
If God's giving you this vision, because he gave it to you, but what you're seeing yourself doing, he gave you that vision for a reason.
Yeah.
Because he's gifted you with what you need inside of you to start that process. And I'm gonna repeat that. He's giving you what you need to start the process. Everything else you need is along the path. As you begin to walk it out, then he brings the provision, the additional resources, the other people, the money, the places, the buildings, the cars, anything that you need to accomplish that vision, he brings to you. But you got to remain in faith and continue to do what you know to do. And he will bring everything else.
But you got to start.
You got to start. You got to start.
Right.
This whole thing of I'm waiting on the Lord to show me. No, he showed you.
Yeah, he did.
He done already showed you. He needs you to move because his angels are a little ways up the road. And if you're standing here stagnant, I'm waiting on the Lord. Baby, do not be another one of those people who goes to the grave with all the goodness God sent to this earth in you, still in you. My goal is to go empty.
Yes, period. Dumped all of it.
Dump it. I got to pour it all out into every person that is called to work with me. Every person I'm called to pour into, I'm pouring into them.
Oh, Tracie, that's so
And
good.
Look, this is the thing. This is one of the reasons I hate excuses, is that it doesn't solve the problem.
No, it sounds good though.
Yeah, it sounds good. It makes you feel good.
Yeah, we get to
but
sleep.
It doesn't solve anything. And every excuse has a solution, which is why my mantra is solutions, not excuses.
Got you.
The solutions are there.
Yeah.
And when you look at the world in which we live now, every problem, every issue, every situation that everybody's all upset and bothered about, the solution is sitting inside somebody that ain't walking in their purpose.
Say that again for the folks in the back, Tracie. I think some of them missed it. Say that one more time.
Every solution that this world needs, God has already brought here. It's here. But the person that has it isn't walking in their purpose.
Wow. So you could be sitting on an amazing solution that God gifted to you, and you will not be able to manifest that until you move.
Right. I don't care what mama told you, daddy told you, sister told you, auntie told you, uncle told you, whoever told you, you can't do that. This is what we do in our family. We don't do those kind. Baby, stop.
Yes.
Listening to that negative tape in your head and understand that if the vision was given to you, he wants you to walk it out. He didn't just hand it to you. It's not just something that, oh, that just happened by chance. No, it happened with purpose.
Everything is divine.
Everything has purpose.
It does.
Everything you've been through has a purpose, and that's a whole nother conversation.
I mean, that's a whole nother live of falling in love. Listen, ladies, if you just stumbled on this conversation, you have walked into a whole month of love, honey. What's love got to do with it? Every single thing. I'm your girl, Dr. Shana, your destiny interventionist. I'm here to interrupt your destiny with my girl, Tracie L James, the business growth strategist and the excuse-proof leader. Listen, she said, and somebody, I need you to put it in the comments, hashtag solutions, not excuses, because so many of us, we got a million of them, but they will keep us stuck, stagnant in some stank water that we just talked about a minute ago that we don't need to be a part of. I'm not about the business of the stank water, Tracie L James. I'm not doing it. I can't do it. And I want my sisters to get to the place that it is non-negotiable. Like, we need to be in a space of I refuse to stand here and be here and not move in the gifts that I've been given. I refuse. And I'm glad you brought that up, because to me, the thing that speaks to me when you talked about God gives us these things, and he does, and every woman has it. And no disrespect to the fellas, we got mad love for y'all too. We talking to our sisters right now, but God has gifted us everyone something different. Part of our problem is we keep looking at what she doing and what she doing and what she doing and what she doing, and we get confused. Yeah, I made that up, confused, and we're trying to figure out how can I do what she's doing, but that wasn't what he called you to do, sis. Your calling was something else.
You gonna make me shout up in here. Somebody pass the collection plate. She just spoke a word. But unfortunately, in our social media society,
yes, Lord,
we get so caught up in comparison. And this is the thing. I love Dr. Shana. She's my sister, okay? Yep. But if I were to try to do what she does, it wouldn't work because that's not my gifting. That's her gifting. I want her to succeed in her gifting because what she does enables me to do what I do.
Exactly. And when we get
how
together,
it works. Everything I do enables her to do what she does.
Because if you ever been in a space with the two of us together working on a project, it's fire, okay? Because we all walking in our own lane.
That's it. I got my lane. She got her lane.
Yeah.
And you have yours. Now, you will see similarities in yourself and other people.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's it. It's no better, no worse than the other person. It's about embracing who you are authentically and allowing that to shine into the world. Somebody's waiting for you to do what you've been called to do. It doesn't matter whether it's as an entrepreneur or in corporate America. Because I'm going to tell you this. When I was in corporate America, honey, I was looking for somebody to shine a light. And there is someone in corporate America that's waiting for you to fully blossom into who you were called to be.
Yeah.
There are boardrooms you need to be at the table at. There are offices that need your light to shine through it. And I don't care if you are working in fast food. I need you to understand that wherever you are, your light needs to shine. You know, my grandfather had a lot of jobs when I was growing up. My grandfather did a lot of things. He worked as a contractor. He did taxes. He worked for the county as an inspector, inspecting buildings. And so my grandfather always had a lot of different things going on. But one thing he told me was that whatever it is you do, you be the best at it.
Whatever it is.
Whatever it is. He said, I don't care if you're going to be the manager at McDonald's. You be the best damn manager at McDonald's you can be.
Told you.
All right. And that's the thing. Sometimes we just get so frustrated, like, I hate being here. But sometimes if we would just shift our mindset and focus on what is good about where we're at, embrace the lesson in this space, God may release you from there. Maybe the reason you ain't been released from that job to go somewhere else is because you ain't learned the lesson yet.
Oh, say that. Because he said you gonna keep running over the same page until you get it.
Until you get it.
Yeah.
And often it's right here. It's
Yeah.
this lesson. It's the
Yeah.
mindset lesson.
It is.
And, you know, when I finally shifted, you know, I've gone from being an entrepreneur to working for somebody and back again. Okay. Because I'm willing to try. I'm impulsive. I'm willing to, if I got an idea, I'm really willing to pursue it and chase it down. Okay. So, but this is the thing. I learned to embrace wherever I was. Even if I didn't fully like everything that I was doing, my job at the American Cancer Society was hard. Okay. Anyone who works for a nonprofit organization full time will tell you, you do more work than you're paid for.
Yeah.
But the reason you're there is because you're passionate about what the organization does. Okay. And so every day when I would go in, if I had one of them days where I was just not quite feeling it, I would remember why I accepted the job.
Yeah.
I accepted the job in honor of my grandmother and my aunt who passed from breast cancer. And that was my commitment, that every day I went in, I was going to give my best for them. I wanted to be there for families. Like the organization had been there for my family.
Right.
So you have to find that thing that's going to keep you in a positive mindset. You know, if you got to put your headphones on and listen to some Dr. Shana to get you pumped and motivated to get your day started. I honestly, after I finish my meditation and devotion, there are all these videos on YouTube that are inspirational and motivational. And I play them until I have to start working. And it gets my energy up. I'll be honest, I always joke that, look, by the time I'm done with this, I'm ready to knock down some walls. Come on.
Yes, right. Come on, let's go.
But that's what you have to do. You have to do things to intentionally uplift yourself.
But that's your word. The key word you just said is intentionally. Because sometimes we think stuff just gonna happen because it's just gonna happen. Nothing happens. No,
I know it's coming.
Osmosis only occurs in the plant kingdom, y'all. We are not plants. We are humans, and we got to do work. And so one of the things that I want to make sure that I circle back to that you talked about is identifying what your own strengths are, your gifts and your talents through using that assessment. So if anyone is watching and you're like, what is she talking about? It's Gallup Strength Assessment. If you want that assessment, I have access to that assessment. I have a Gallup certified practitioner inside of my virtual academy that can administer that test to you and give you a 15-minute free consultation to talk to you about your strengths. When I tell you it's invaluable, and it only costs you a couple of drinks at Starbucks, like $20. Like, it's so minuscule. If you're interested in that, you want, I think every woman or man needs to have taken that assessment because of the value that it adds. It's like you find out who you really are because we don't have language for it. A lot of the things that we actually are talented at, we don't have language. We just do stuff, but you don't understand what it really is until you get language around it. Because when I took it, Tracie, it blew my mind. I got some clarity about, I thought I knew who I was. She didn't know. I know now a whole lot more, and I can use those things and walk in them. So please, if you're interested in that test, inbox me, DM me, even go to joindrshana.com. You can enter into my free Facebook group and ask me for that assessment. And I will make sure that you get it. It's extremely valuable assessment to have. And so knowing who you are, being able to be positive, because you talked about that as well too, challenging our thinking, not living in this negative space or allowing the negativity around us, because sometimes you can be in a toxic environment, and that's the problem. You know what I mean? And you can't fall in love with nothing in a toxic environment, child. You just trying to keep your head over water.
And this is the thing. I've worked in those toxic environments, and I've tried to stay because the money was good. And I think you remember this, Dr. Shana. What was it, 2018? I ended up almost passing out at work because my blood pressure jumped. And it was from the stress of trying to finish this contract. And literally had to get picked up and get home. And my head was pounding and everything. Go to the doctor and find out you're having some issues with your blood pressure. You got to figure out what's causing it. and I'm tracking my blood pressure. My blood pressure's cool as long as I'm not there. When I was there, when I tracked,
sky high. See how it affects us, mind, body, spirit.
And the environment, it might not have even really been a stressful day in respect to what I was doing, but the people, the energy around me was so toxic. There was backbiting and name calling,
all of that,
and folks was just, I mean, they were out for themselves. And you know, when you have a sales environment where people are stealing sales from each other,
that's not okay.
This is not okay. And I didn't want to stop before I was really done. But what I realized was that I'm putting all this effort into helping change this environment, and they're working against me at every turn, not wanting to fully implement any recommendations the team and I were making. And it was just, they were stagnant.
Yeah.
And so when I realized it was impacting my health,
and you had to go.
I had to let it go.
Well, we have to make some decisions for ourselves, because it is absolutely true that we could be in a space that is detrimental to our well-being. And in no way will we ask any woman to consider remaining in a place that literally is killing us, right? Inside out. Right. It really, really can. And so, I mean, the thought about this conversation is, ladies, find your space, find your rhythm, find what makes your heart beat. Like, one of the things that I love about what I do is that I love what I do. I don't say yes to things that don't make my heart sing. I can do a bunch of stuff. Like, God has gifted me in a multitude of ways. But the things that don't make me just go, no, that doesn't. We have to get to that space.
It's that whole thing of, it's either hell yes or hell no.
If it ain't, then I ain't. I can't.
If it's somewhere in that lukewarm area, God don't go lukewarm. So why do you?
We got to get better.
We got to do better. So positioning ourselves where we are doing something that we love in an environment that shows us love and respect. Because let's understand something. Toxic work environments are just as bad as being in a toxic marriage or relationship.
That's right.
It just is, because it eats away at you from the inside out.
It does.
And so, you're sitting there and you're like, well, girl, I hate my job, but what am I supposed to do? Find another job.
You got
looking.
Yep.
Get out, begin to look for another job. Network, do all of those things. You got to be intentional about what you do instead of sitting there and letting life happen to you. Are you existing or are you living?
Come on now. We got a choice. Ladies.
I mean, Dr. Shana talking about an extraordinary life. You don't get there by existing.
You don't. That is non-negotiable. Like, I have to make a decision that I want to live. I want to thrive and not just survive. So, ladies, I'm just hopeful. Like, if this conversation has helped you, do me a favor. Put a 1 in the chat box if you gain something from this conversation. Hit share on your timeline, because someone in your timeline, she's struggling right now inside of her job, her career. She's trying to figure out what she needs to do, and she needs to hear this conversation. We're not having this conversation all the time, and we need to, because we show up every day to somebody's job, happy or unhappy, and we're not talking about what are our options, what are our steps, what do we need to do, which is why I wanted to have this conversation about falling in love, and falling in love with what you do, falling in love with how you show up in this world, because it matters, ladies. It matters. God has gifted each of us in a very specific way. And I want you to be able to walk in the gift that he gave to you, because you are absolutely the answer to somebody else's destiny that you don't even know yet. And she can't get healed because you haven't done your work yet. So let's all get in and do our work, ladies. Let's do our work. Let me tell them, Tracie L James, tell them how they can reach you.
Okay, they can reach me. I am on social media at I am Tracie L James, and my website is tracieLjames.com. And yes, I'm that special Tracie, Tracie. That's right. And one quick shout to all of my business owners. Be sure you're loving your employees enough to create an environment that shows them love and respect. Remember how you felt as an employee.
Yeah.
Don't forget now that you're the owner.
Exactly. Because we got to be that way to the people that we work with as well. Absolutely. Okay, ladies, I hope you enjoyed this episode of What's Love Got to Do with It. The answer remains the same. Everything. Okay?
Everything.
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 Everything. It really does. Thank you, Tracie L James, for joining me for this conversation. I appreciate you so much, sis. Love you to pieces. And ladies, y'all just hang tight. Come back next Sunday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time for the next episode. Next week we'll have Crystal Cunningham, who's going to talk about For the Love of Money. Ooh, we about to get in your pocketbook
I
on
love
next
it.
Sunday. And we're going to talk about our attitudes about money, how we need to think about, be about. Listen, it's going to be good, good. I appreciate you guys so much. Be sure you like and share this and put one in the comments if you got some value out of this. And make sure you connect to Tracie L James. If you're needing that assessment, please DM me, inbox me, or go to joindrshana.com and join the Facebook group, and I'll make sure you get it. Y'all have a great rest of your Valentine's Day. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.